Hello again everyone, and welcome back to Learn Linux TV. In today's video, what I'm going to do is show you my favorite method for giving a user access to the sudo command. And the sudo command is one of those that many Linux users learn during their first year or probably their first month. It's an important command, something that I've covered in a dedicated video, and what it allows you to do is give a user access to root privileges for commands. And in this video, what I'm going to do is show you my favorite method, like I mentioned, which involves editing a simple text file and putting it in a very particular directory. It's really simple, but it's effective, and you're going to see it in this video. And we'll get started in just a moment, but before we do, I just wanted to mention that if you click that join button and become a member of Learn Linux TV, you'll gain access to exclusive perks. Among them, you'll get access to ad-free content, and also you'll get early access to select videos as well. And as always, I really appreciate your support of this channel. It means a lot to me. Now let's get started with today's tutorial. And first, we're going to look at why the sudo command is necessary in the first place. For example, if I wanted to install the tmux package, then I'll use the dnf command because dnf is what you use on Fedora, and this system is actually running Fedora. So a typical install command for a package might look something like this. I'll type dnf install and then the name of the package. And this command is going to install tmux on the system, which is a must-have utility for me. But you could choose any package, really. I just chose tmux selfishly so that way I could plug my course here on YouTube that covers it. tmux is definitely worth checking out, and it's something that I highly recommend that everyone learns. But anyway, this command is going to fail. Why? Well, because I'm logged in as a normal non-root user, so a command that makes system-wide changes, such as a command like this where I'm installing a package, is going to fail and tell me that I don't have permission. And this is exactly where sudo comes in. What I could do is use sudo in front of the command. So, for example, I'll recall the previous one, the one that just failed. I'm going to go to the beginning, and I'll add sudo. And now when I enter this particular command, the tmux package will install. And the reason for that is because the sudo command is going to escalate my privileges to root, thereby giving me access to perform this command, which makes system-wide changes. But anyway, as you can see, sudo is very easy to use. In fact, I'm sure many of you have already used it before. You just simply add it before a command that you want to run with root privileges, and that's about it. But as simple as sudo happens to be when it comes to general usage, how do you go about giving additional users access to it? Well, traditionally, there's two methods. First, most distributions include some sort of built-in group that controls access. So if I check the groups that my user is a member of, I'll just simply type groups. You'll see that among the groups that my user is a member of, it's a member of the wheel group. And any user that's a member of the wheel group, like mine, is going to have access to the sudo command. Other distributions might use a different group for the same purpose. For example, Debian and Ubuntu use the sudo group for the same purpose. And that is a perfectly valid method when it comes to giving a user access to the sudo command. You just simply make them a member of whatever group on that system controls access to sudo, and that'll work just fine. However, the more traditional method when it comes to granting access to sudo is to edit the etc sudoers file, which is this one right here. Now, ironically, I'm not going to have access to view the contents of that file, so I'll need to use sudo to view the contents of it. So what I'll do is add sudo in front of this command, and that's going to give me access to view the contents, considering that this file is protected. It's definitely an important file, so we don't want just anyone to be able to read it, but with the sudo command, I will be able to read it. And we can see that there's a fair number of contents within this file. And alternatively, you can edit this file by hand, and inside it, you can add a line of configuration for a particular user to grant them access. The thing is, though, it's not recommended that you edit the etc sudoers file directly, because if you make a single mistake, you'll lock everyone out of sudo, including yourself. And to help mitigate potential syntax errors, there's actually a dedicated command you could use to edit the etc sudoers file, and that is the visudo command. And you can think of visudo as a wrapper of sorts. You'll use it to edit the etc sudoers file, but visudo goes a step further and gives you some basic syntax checking, and doesn't allow you to save changes to the etc sudoers file unless it passes some basic syntax checking first. But let's go ahead and use this command in case you haven't already seen what it looks like. I'll need to use sudo to run this particular command. But anyway, let's run the command and see what it looks like. And here we have the etc sudoers file open within an editor. My system is set up to default to the Vim editor, although you can change it to use a different editor like Nano if you want to. Again, check out my sudo video for more information about the specifics of that. But anyway, here we have the actual config file that controls access to the sudo command. Now notice at the bottom that the file that I'm actually editing is /etc/sudoers.tmp. We're not actually editing the sudoers file itself, at least not yet. Whenever we use the sudo command to edit the etc sudoers file, it's instead going to make a copy of it instead of editing the file directly. Once we're finished editing this particular file and then we save the changes, if those changes pass some basic syntax checking, then the original etc sudoers file will be replaced with the contents that we have here. And again, this is the traditional method that most people use when it comes to controlling access to sudo. Anyway, to change the configuration, what we're going to do is add a new line. So I'm just going to go to the end of this file right here. And we have a number of examples within this file, which is really helpful. So if you're curious about the syntax, you'll see some examples of it within the file in the comments. But what I'm going to do is add a new line. And what I'll do is add some configuration to give access to sudo to another user. So let's say we have a user named Linus, for example. I'm going to type some configuration right here. And there we have a sample line of configuration. I went over this in more detail within my sudo video, but again, that's the traditional method. And what I'm going to do right now is show you my preferred method, the method that I recommend going forward. And what I'll do to illustrate this method is point your attention to a specific folder on your file system. So what I'll do is use sudo with the ls command. I want to view the contents of a particular directory. And the directory that I want to call your attention to is this one, /etc/sudoers.d. So we have the etc sudoers file itself, which had all the configuration that you just saw, but we also have a directory sudoers.d as well. And in this case, I do have some files within that directory. I have 3. In particular, I have a file for user J, and I also have a file for the provisioner user, which is just a user that I use with my configuration management system. But that's probably not something that you're going to see on your end. In fact, most likely for you, this directory is empty unless you've used it before. But what I'm going to do in particular to show you an example of what you do with this particular directory is I'm going to view the contents of the J file. That's a file for my user account. I'm actually logged in as user J right now, so that is my file. But what I'll do is type sudo, and then cat, and then that file. And right here we see one line of configuration. There's a few comments here, but the last line is the only line that actually matters. My configuration management system is called Configamajig. That's something that I use internally, so obviously you're not going to have that on your system. But the takeaway here is that at the bottom, we have a line of configuration for sudo. It's pretty much the same thing that you could add to the etc sudoers file itself. But what we're doing right here is we're adding that line of configuration to its own file, and the file is named after my user. And basically, this method involves creating an individual file per user to give them access to sudo. And inside that file, you include a valid line of configuration for sudo. Now, to understand how exactly this works, what I'll do is bring up the sudo command again. Now on the last line, we see include dir, and it's pointing to etc sudoers.d. Now notice that right above this, it mentions that the hash in front of it does not indicate a comment. So this is an exception to the rule. For example, right here, we have a comment, but this one right here is actually a directive. We want to include a directory. And what this is going to do is include any file that's located under /etc/sudoers.d. And that's the reason why this method works. Sudo is already looking for files that may or may not exist within that directory. So every time you run it, it's going to check that directory to see if any files are there. And if there are files there and any of them pertain to your particular user, they're going to be applied. And one of the benefits of adding a file to that particular directory is that you don't have to use sudo at all. All you really have to do is just create a file underneath that directory and you're good to go. Now, when it comes to the files that you create underneath that directory, they do need to have very specific permissions. So if I use ls-l to view a long listing of the contents of that directory, you'll notice that the permission string looks a little strange for these files. For example, we have read access for the owning user. We also have read access for the owning group. But the user and group that owns these files don't actually have write access. They only have read access. And that makes sense because the files here give access to sudo, and if you have access to sudo, you could do essentially anything you want. We definitely need to be restrictive over the permissions. So in particular, we want read access for the user and read access for the group and nothing else. Sorry to interrupt my own video, but I wanted to let you guys know about something really cool that I created recently. I put together the Ultimate Linux Commands Cheat Sheet, a downloadable PDF that covers all the essential Linux commands, as well as some great bash aliases, hardening tips, and other nuggets that I've picked up over the years. For just a $3 donation, it's yours, and it makes a great reference for those of you that work with a terminal. And while you're there, check out my other products at the shop as well. There's all kinds of Linux-themed products there. For example, t-shirts like the Dark Side of the Terminal. There's a classic Debian swirl tee, and even a shirt to warn those around you that you're obsessed with Linux. Every purchase helps keep this channel going. There's a lot of cost involved with editing all the content for you guys, and it also helps justify the amount of caffeine that I go through while I edit these videos. As always, thank you guys so much for supporting Linux learning. I really appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the video. But anyway, now that you understand the basics of this method, let's actually work through it. What I'm going to do right now is add a new user to the system. Now I used Linus earlier as an example, but I did not create that user. That user does not exist on this system. So what I'm going to do right now is actually create that user. So I'll type sudo, and then add user, and the user that I'm going to add is Linus. And now I've created that user. What I'm also going to do is apply a password to that user. And now that user should exist on the system. Now if I switch over to that user, so I'll type su, and then I'll type hyphen, and I want to change to the Linus user. And as you can see, now I'm logged in as Linus. However, the thing is, Linus will not have access to sudo. So if I was to type sudo, and then some random command, maybe sudo dnf update, maybe I want to update the system, but that's not going to work because I have yet to give access to sudo to this user. I'll type in the password, and as we see at the bottom, Linus is not in the sudoers file, which means Linus does not have access to sudo. We pretty much expected that, but what I'm going to do right now is use the sudoers.d method to give Linus access to sudo. So I'll type exit to log out of this particular session and return to my user account. And now I'm logged back into my user. So what I'll do is create a new file under /etc/sudoers.d that's going to give Linus access to use sudo. So I'll type sudo, and we could use Vim or whatever text editor we want to use. We'll create the file underneath /etc/sudoers.d. And the file that we're going to create is going to match the username that it's supposed to apply to. In this case, the user is Linus. So I'll press enter. And here we have a brand new file. And what I'll do is type a line of configuration that's specific to the sudo command. But any line of configuration that works for the etc sudoers file will work here as well. So anyway, what I'll do is save the file. And we can see that the file now exists right there. And you'll notice that the permissions to the Linus file are different than the others. We want to make sure that we make the permissions the same. We do want to be consistent. So what we'll do is change the permissions. So I'll type sudo, and then chmod. I'll use 440 for the permissions. And I'm going to apply that to the file that we just created. And I'll check the permissions again. And now we can see that the permissions to the Linus file are the same as the others. But anyway, now that I've created that file within that directory, watch what happens. What I'll do is switch back to the Linus user. And now I'm logged in as that user. And what I'll do is type sudo and then dnf update, just like that. And earlier we tried this command before I created that file, so at the time Linus did not have access to sudo, but it should work now. So let's see what happens. And as you can see, the command is actually working. And as you can see, I have a huge number of updates on this particular system. Now normally I keep all of my systems completely up to date, but this is just a demo system that I haven't used in a while, so I don't really care all that much. So I'm not going to worry about updating it right now, but as you can see, the command is working. If I was to answer yes to this prompt right here, I would have all available updates installed. But anyway, as you can see, allowing a user to use the sudo command by placing a file within the etc sudoers.d directory is fairly simple to do, but why would you want to use that method in particular? Well, there's actually a few different reasons. First, while you can always use the sudo command to edit the etc sudoers file directly, any syntax errors that you may include would cause sudo not to work for anyone, not even you. But to be fair, the sudo command was literally created to catch errors, and it won't even allow you to save a file that contains an obvious problem, but as with all things, it's not going to catch 100% of any issue that you might experience. By creating individual per-user config files under the etc sudoers.d directory, we're leaving the original file completely intact, so even if we do make a mistake with the etc sudoers.d file that we create, it won't stop others from being able to use sudo. But another benefit of using the method that I just showed you by creating individual files underneath etc sudoers.d, that's going to make automation a lot easier. So if we take another look at the sudoers file that's specific to my user, you'll see that there's more content here than just that one line of configuration, and as I mentioned earlier, my configuration management solution, it creates this file for me on each of my systems. So basically all I need to do is include an Ansible template that creates this file for any users that need it, and I'm pretty much good to go. And because I'm able to drop files for sudo within this directory, then that means that Ansible is going to be able to do the same thing, so I've completely automated the process, and it's a lot easier to do with Ansible if you use this method. And think of it this way. When you're instructing Ansible to create a single file on the file system, that's very, very easy to do. The code for that is very simple, and there's not all that much to it, so it does drastically simplify the process, especially if you're using a configuration management solution like I am. But anyway, that's about it when it comes to this particular method. It's literally that simple. If you want to give a user access to sudo that doesn't already have it, all you have to do is create a file that's named exactly the same as their username and have a valid line of configuration for sudo within that file, and then you store it in the etc sudoers.d directory, and then you're good to go. And this is my favorite method when it comes to providing users with access to sudo, and I hope this tutorial has helped you out. And there's our video. In today's tutorial, I showed you my favorite method for giving a user access to the sudo command, and I hope it helped you out. If it did, then be sure to click that like button to let YouTube know, and also make sure you subscribe to Learn Linux TV if you haven't already done so. I upload new Linux-related content each and every week, and, well, I really love making content for you guys, so definitely subscribe to see my latest videos. Anyway, thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next one.